Recording in progress.
Heather, would you take roll, please?
Yep. Commissioner Dibdahl,
Here.
Commissioner Wolf,
Here.
Commissioner Wire,
Here.
Commissioner Burish,
Here.
and Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have before you the agenda for this evening.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there anyone that would like to discuss something that's on the consent calendar? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no unfinished business, under new business, public hearing upon the application for a temporary retail on-sale alcohol license for the Knights of Columbus St. Thomas Gala, November 1st, 2025. Is there anyone that wants to discuss at the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 9. Consider approval of the temporary retail on-sale alcohol license for the Knights of Columbus St. Thomas Gala, November 1, 2025. Any discussion?
This has been reoccurring for as long as I can remember. And Kelly, did you talk with Chief at all?
I didn't on this particular one this year, but I haven't historically, and there's been no issues with this one.
With that, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the temporary retail on-sale alcohol license for the Knights of Columbus St. Thomas Gala, November 1st, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 10, approve the 2023 annual financial report. Jameson, you want to address that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the approval of the 23 annual financial report. Our auditor, Shane Fish and Company, have been finishing up the audit report, and they also complete the annual financial report for us. So just to distinguish amongst the two a little bit, the annual financial report, which is before you today, that's the comprehensive view of our finances for that fiscal year. And then the audit report is the auditor's formal opinion on the accuracy of those financial statements and whether they line up with the Government Accounting Standards Board principles. So again, tonight's just the review and approval of the financial statement, and we do expect the audit reports to be on a future agenda in the very near future. I'll stand by for any questions.
Any questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the 2023 City of Madison Annual Report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 12, October 2025 city updates. And I'll ask Jameson to address this one also.
I think we got number 11 yet.
All right.
Yep.
Discussion and action on the selection of an audit firm for the 2024 financial audit. And Jameson, you want to address it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So continuing on the subject of our finances and our audits, as we are wrapping up the 23 audits, we want to move into the 24 audit as quickly as possible. So we bring for you 3 different firms that have sent us proposals for audit services for the fiscal year 2024. budget. One is Shane Fish and Company. They're our current auditor. We've been with them for a number of years, and they do good work for us. However, they haven't been able to help us keep up or catch up to our preferred audit timeline. And so we wanted to make sure that we are doing a good review of all the firms out there. So we also had solicited proposals from Williams and Company, as well as ELO CPAs and advisors. The information for all of those are shown in the agenda packet and a staff memo. The cost proposals do change, as do the services included within those memos. So the cost for Shane Fish is $32,500, and that's just for the audit only. There are additional costs for completing the annual report, like the one you have just completed or approved, as well as filing the 1099s. Williams and Company has a higher cost, so that they as far as their timeline goes, they'd be looking to have this completed by the end of the year. That was when we were speaking with them a few weeks ago, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had to extend that a few weeks, but that is a very aggressive target for completion on the timeline. And with that quicker timeline comes with a higher cost. So in the first year, $60,000 is what they were targeting for a cost. They would hope to see that price go down after, by the third audit, and they had a target for that of $50,000. Still a higher cost than what we are currently paying with Shane Fish, although that proposal does include the annual financial report, the 1099 filings, and just year-round advisory services. So there's more services included within that number. And finally, ELO CPAs is $47,000 out of pocket, and they're looking at 50/50 billing on that. Their timeline was to have it completed in May to June. And I should note that Shane Fish's timeline, they were looking for 6 to 8 months after they would be here, and they were looking at getting here by the end of November. So you're looking at that May to July timeline for Shane Fish. Each audit has 18 months for us to complete to be timely. Of course, these last two audits, the 22 and the 23, we have not been able to reach timely audits. That goes back to when we were changing to our Tyler software. We're having staff turnovers, and then we had an error in the water fund that needed to be corrected and caused the auditors to be delayed. And ever since that's happened, we've been doing our best to catch up. And at this point, we feel that the best thing we can do to catch up is to pay a higher amount to get that accelerated services. So it is the staff's recommendation to move forward with Williams and Company, primarily because of that accelerated timeline. But we stand by and will implement whatever audit firm the commission deems appropriate.
Thing I like is they have a quicker timeline, but the other thing is they are very familiar with Tyler. And since all of our departments and that are using Tyler, I think it's going to save us a lot on staff time as well. And so I would not like to see us get letters from the state again that we are behind on getting our audit done. Other comments?
Yeah, I just want to echo that. The timelines that we've had have been unacceptable. This has not only just been for the audited, it's also limited our electric cost of service study to move forward with that. And agree with the mayor, the full utilization integrated with Tyler Technologies. I don't feel like we're using this software to our full potential, and I think this will help that. In addition, this past week, I also had the opportunity to meet some folks from Williams and Company, as well as particularly the city of T, who had rave reviews for Williams and Company. So I would like to make a motion to accept the proposal from Williams and Company for the first year of that 60 to 65K.
Okay, we have a motion. Any other discussion?
I'll second that. I spoke with Amy, and I am comfortable with going with her best recommendation to also go with Williams and Company.
This is not a unique to Madison, correct? The other communities are in the same situation, audit-wise, correct? This isn't a...
Yeah, if you look at the state of South Dakota, we are not the only city to be delayed, to have untimely audits. There's some cities considerably smaller than us with less activities that are also seeing 8-month turnaround times on their audits, and I don't want to put all of the blame onto Shane Fish either, because there's some of the, the city's activities with the Tyler conversion and things like that that are the reason why we got delayed in the first place. And they've done what they can to catch us up, but they take each of their clients in the order that they receive them. And in our case, they were on site here at the beginning of the year, first week of January, and then they get into tax season and they start going through the other audits, and it's not until now that we actually receive that completion, and that timeline just, in our opinion, simply does not line up with what we need to move forward.
So then, so for the 24 audit, was that budgeted in 25? Or how does that work?
Good question. So I will say that the higher cost is included within next year's budget, because if we get the 24 done this year, we are looking at moving forward with the 25 audit right away, and as that be a higher cost. I know that higher cost is included within next year's budget, which has been constraints, which has had constraints. This year's budget, I'm trying to remember, Heather. I know that Amy was not concerned about having within this year's budget, so she must have had some additional costs to do the 20. Yes, that would make sense, because we were hoping that the 23 audit would be completed beginning of the year. We were hoping tax season around that time, and we would wanting to get into the 24 audit this year. So I believe that she had enough budgeted for it in this year. That was a roundabout way of answering your question, that yes, I believe that we have funds for both the 23 and the 24 audit completion this year.
Other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 12, October 2025, city updates.
While Heather is pulling that up, I will note on the selection of the audit, so you can expect on the next agenda, we will have an engagement letter with Williams. So thank you tonight for the direction and the action to select them, but we will have that engagement letter in the next one as well. So as we are looking at updates for this month, looking at the past month, we've had some exciting changes going on. Go ahead and advance the slide, Heather. Here's a reminder of the active projects that we have going on. And then the first ones I will talk about are some of our major infrastructure projects on the next slide. Park Creek Walls, site number 2, is now in the punch list phase, so that has reached substantial completion, and we're excited to see that wrapped up. And a lot of these projects on this slide, the airport projects, the airport pavement project are all finishing up, have had walkthroughs or in the punch list phase. On the street side, segment 5A, which was completing on the South Union side of the project, is in punch list. And then 5B is exciting. That's the Highland project. So that's probably a better way of describing it for people to be aware. But 5B was opened up last Friday. The asphalting was completed, and that is now open to traffic, so you all potentially use that road to get down here. I do want to take a moment, because we've got some questions from the public on what that project included, and they're very understandable and reasonable questions, because over the last 5 years, we completed a lot of infrastructure projects that have included utilities and full street reconstruction. So that often includes the pavement over top, as well as curb, gutter, and potentially more beyond that. In this case, Highland Avenue is a county-owned and operated road. We do have some maintenance responsibilities through an agreement in the 50s that states that we will maintain, assist in the maintenance of the road, but it's still their road, and we don't have the jurisdiction over that. And so in this case, we were focused primarily, or I should say exclusively, on the utility improvements, the water and the sewer improvements. So replacing aging water and sewer infrastructure so that that system can be improved. We're still committed to partnering with the county to find funding opportunities to reconstruct Highland Avenue, as well as the bypass all the way from Pizza Ranch to Prestralos. But that isn't what this project was about. This project was exclusively a utility project. So again, reasonable questions from the public. I think some people were expecting, once it was opened up, that they'd see a brand new road there, and that was not the scope of this project. Any questions from the commission?
On the first slide, I guess,
Backup one, yep.
You had wage study in progress. What's kind of the timeline on that?
Yeah, so the Human Resources Department is working closely with Alternative HR, and they're getting, at this point, they're getting the comparison positions back from the vendor, and they are making sure that those comparisons line up with what we feel our positions do as far as job description and duties, and then that is marching us down the road towards seeing those final wage comparisons with them. So it's ongoing. It is going slower than we had hoped, but it is still progressing.
So this year yet, or what? Is there an end date or a completion date or expected response date?
Yeah, as soon as possible is our goal. Of course, our intent was to have that completed so that we could have the information to use to have the wages included within the 2025 budget. With the first reading occurring on next meeting, I don't think we're going to meet that timeline. But we still have several months before wages are set. Typically, we set budgeted amounts for wages and insurance and other things in the budget, and then once it gets to the first meeting or so in January, we officially set the wages based on step increases and those things. So as long as we feel that we can put estimated projected amounts in the budget for next year, which we do feel we certainly can do, that everything can continue moving forward without any hiccups or trip-ups. But we are wanting to have that done before the end of the year, certainly, so that we can have those put into effect beginning of fiscal year 2026. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the wage study? Any other questions on Highland? Phase 5B? Okay, we'll slide ahead to the Egan Avenue reconstruction. So this one is ongoing. It is currently in a full closure, which was not the original plan. We were hoping, or the contractor specifications stated that they would have phase 2A, which is the west side from 3rd to 5th completed before they can move on to the east side of 3rd to 5th, and their operations have been behind schedule, and we felt that the bigger inconvenience to the public would be as if this project was not done this construction season, as opposed to having a full shutdown of both lanes of traffic. So they are in a full shutdown. That does allow the contractor to move around, have more space to operate their equipment, and also to have more crews get in there and start working on both sides of the street. The contractor still assures us that they can complete this project, this year's phase of the project this year, and that's the latest we've heard from them. Of course, by the time we get to this time of the year, we do get nervous because you never know when winter will rear its head and come back again. But at this point, they are making good headway and progressing on Egan Avenue reconstruction.
What is that completion date in the contract?
It's in November. I don't know the exact date.
I want to say it's November 15th. I say that with, I'm going to call 80% certainty. I gave Ryan the night off tonight, so he can't confirm, but.
And Ryan talked with all the homeowners that were involved in it, and they were in supportive of keeping it moving and making sure it got finished this year. And the other thing is there's areas in there that he said that they had to get as deep as 13 feet. And so, they just felt for safety reasons it was better to close it, and so the contractor could keep their employees as safe as possible and get the job done sooner.
I just checked the Egan Avenue update, and November 15th was you're right.
Blind mice finding nuts and all that. But. Okay, any other questions on Egan? All right, we'll move on to some events and updates at the Madison Public Library. So we want to give a thank you to First Interstate Bank. They sent some volunteers recently, and they spent some hours painting the entryway of the library. So with the entryway replaced and painted, it's looking very nice now. And on the right side there, you see Katie, who's our programs coordinator. They are leading the graphic novel book club, which is a new group for the middle school. We also have a Lego club that you have shown here, led by library assistant Cassidy, and that brings in kids from all of our community, not just Madison Central, but also St. Thomas and homeschool kids as well. And then on the right side, we have had Library Card Sign-Up Month. through September, a good opportunity to remind the public to come in, get library cards, utilize all the library services that we have. And they had on, I don't remember the date, but they had a family fun Nerf night within the library, and you can imagine how much fun the kids had to bring some Nerf guns in and to be able to shoot those around the library. And you can see some great photos there. I think this is a great example of how our library, like so many libraries out there, aren't the typical cliche libraries where you have to come in and whisper and librarians are telling you to shush and be quiet. They have a lot of great activities for kids and more than just books. And I'm happy to see this event was a hit.
Okay, before we go on further, Jennifer, would you mind addressing for the commissioners the email that you received on the handicap ramp?
Yes, I got an email from an individual stating some concerns that her daughter uses a wheelchair and has not been able to access the library with the ramp under construction. You know, she's understanding that it's a project that needs to happen, but obviously very much looking forward to getting back into the library. So I responded to her and let her know that Dan Whitlock is the contact on that project and can fill in the timeline details more thoroughly, and hopefully individuals with mobility issues will be able to access the library again fully very soon.
I thought we were just waiting on a railing
Questions from
there.
other people, that's why I asked you to share yours.
Yeah, you're correct, Kelly, just the railing at this point, but until that's done, we can't officially open it up for liability reasons.
And do we have a date or an estimated date on when that may be installed?
I don't, so that's, of course, as we've known, all internal work, so we have trade-offs whenever we do things like that. We are able to accomplish this project at a lower cost, and since this was a high-cost project, it helped to make the whole project feasible and possible to begin with, but of course that does lead to a trade-off in the timeline here, as we are looking at stealing staff time away from other projects to fabricate those railings. And then once they're fabricated, they get sent down to get galvanized as well, and that takes time.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, the last city circle we had was focused, the advertised topic was the 2026 budget, which has been, of course, a big discussion item for the city here of recent. September 22nd is when this city circle was, but the topics included not just the budget, but a wide range of things, which is exactly what city circle is for. So you can see the long list of topics there. This was held at the library, and I think it was a good engagement event, and we had, I think, a good number of residents there as well, probably around 6 to 8. Looking ahead to the next city circle, we've got the October 1 TBD. I know we are on one with to incorporate some engagement with children and youth in the community, and that date will be shared soon. And then the library has their trivia tournament, which is the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. That starts up here this week on October 9th. Those are located at the office, and there are 5 dates when that occurs, once a month. We've got a few vacancies we want to call out. So the Planning Commission, you likely saw that on our consent calendar tonight, we did appoint Carrie Barlow to the Planning Commission. So that vacancy was from Commissioner Wolf being elevated to the City Commission. Carrie Barlow was an alternate to the Planning Commission, so that does open up one spot as an alternate. And quite often those alternates are involved with the Planning Commission because it's a volunteer board of folks and they can't always make the meetings. So the vacancy essentially is still in place. We're still looking for candidates, and I hope to have approval or on the next agenda for somebody to fill that vacant alternate spot. 5-year term, and they must be city residents. On the airport, due to one board member moving outside the county, we have a vacancy on the airport board. This is also a 5-year term. And the residency requirement here is at least 3 have to be in the city limits, and up to 2 can be within Lake County but outside city limits. And we have, we've met that threshold, so this person could be located anywhere within Lake County. And then finally, the Madison Housing Redevelopment Commission, there is 1 spot on there that's still remaining, and those are, again, 5-year terms, and this is also a city residency requirement. Any questions on our vacancies?
Yeah, anyone who's interested, please contact Jameson or go online and fill out the application.
And then last, the Good Neighbors Great Madison campaign for this month is reinforcing some safety provisions for our new scooter ordinance that regulates scooters and similar vehicles, similar mechanisms. And so that is now in effect, and we want to remind the public, especially parents out there, to teach your kids how to be safe. They need to be having helmets if they're under 18. Anybody over 20 miles an hour needs to be having eye protection regardless of age. And of course, complying with all state laws, local ordinances for bicycles. And I really can't emphasize enough the importance for parents to be the leaders here and to teach their kids safe and effective driving habits. And that wraps it up. Are there any other questions?
I got one question. With winter approaching here, has there been any updates on the old city hall at all?
Nothing new there. I had a couple developers interested in putting in proposals, and I have not received final proposal from either of them yet.
Do we have a definitive date when the armory floor is going to be finished and that can be fully reopened?
Yeah, that would have a substantial completion deadline on it, just like any other project. I don't know what that is offhand, but I can get you that information.
Okay.
I know our goal has been before Thanksgiving.
And they are working on it, so that's a plus right there.
Because I told the chamber board that it would be available for a day with Santa, so hopefully I'm not mistaken about that.
Other questions or comments? Okay, very good, thank you. Seeing no public, I assume we don't have any public comment. Under announcements, our next regular commission meeting will be Monday, October 20th at 5:30 p.m. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Recording